there are 3 towns to the northeast where 3 to 4 AWNR top officials are at. Cristiano Agostinho, Ian Serra, and Iago Carreria, and a possible unknown official. Needing to get 2 out of the 4 alive to get more intel to finally get the head of the AWNR. Province of Benguela is a province of Angola situated in the west of the country. It lies on the Atlantic Ocean and borders the province of Kuzana, Sul, Namibia, Huilia, and Huambo. The province has been an area of 39,826 kilometers. Its capital is Benguela. This is all information that you have been made aware of in previous op boards, so we're going to move to the more pertinent information. So today, the Anwar is a mix between terrorist and conventional forces with both air and armor assets that are around the era of the Cold War. Much of the forces operate on a guerrilla warfare when attacking, but have since fallen into a lax state in their occupation. Been doing good work from the past operations. We've been steadily and surely clipping away at the AWNR's capabilities, but we are still up for a severe fight. Today's operation objectives. We have objective AGO. Clear the town of Cruzar. It's reported that one of the 3 officials are in this town trying to keep morale up from the previous attacks from friendly forces. Grid reference 061104. Objective Sarah. Clear the town from AWNR from town and push them back. There are reports that top officials are being kept in safe houses. North Warehouse. Hit the North Warehouse to see if they have WMDs. Grid reference 088090. Objective Lago. Search town lots of warehouses and having WMDs in the buildings. Intel also reports and another important person will be here. Grid reference 100083. So as we're moving into these operational objectives, be advised that there will be possible civilian presence. We are unaware of how many civilians there may be. We are unaware what kind of clothing they might be wearing. They may blend very well into some of the more relaxed AWNR forces. When we're moving in, we're going to be wearing our protective equipment, our gas masks at all times until the situation is deemed safe to remove them. We'll be inserting via static line jump. For a quick refresher on everyone to make sure that we all are understanding of the commands. As we board the bird, we will be numbered from front to rear. That number, you must remember, it is your jump order. We jump from front to back. The order will go 1, jump, 2, jump, or 1, go, 2, go, at intervals of 3 seconds. Static lines work as such. Jump master will say, stand up. You will ace interact with the bird. You will see an option to stand up. You will click that option at the directed order. You will then be ordered to hook up. You will once again ace interact to connect a hook to the static line above. At this point, you will have a scroll wheel option to jump. Do not press this option until ordered to do so when your number is called. At this point, you will be ejected from the vehicle and the chute will deploy underneath you. It is then your obligation to come over your particular squad radio to inform your fire team and then your section leader that you are under canopy. This will be relayed to the platoon level, and then we'll be able to, once everyone is on the ground, reorganize and start moving towards the objective. At this point in time, I will now leave the particular tactics and operational objective to Lieutenant King.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Price. All right, here we go. So everyone open up your map. Landing at the DZ, which is going to be in grid 047066 or 076. Depending on where you land, it's obviously going to vary. Make your way to the staging area at grid 047082. Congregate in the tree line. We'll get set up, make sure everyone's accounted for. If anyone gets armored or anything, we'll take care of that. But if you have injuries that are related to your jump, i.e. you land in a tree and you break your legs, you need to make sure you get on the net and notify someone that you are injured and unable to move at a high speed so they can come and grab you. Those of you who aren't aware, we learned last night that if you're limping, so if you have broken legs, you can actually be picked up and carried by a teammate while still alive and then just dropped. So if that happens, try to use that mechanic before you call for Zeus heals. Who the fuck is Spider?
He's a recruit. He hasn't renamed himself.
Okay. So once we're at the staging area and everyone is accounted for, we're going to move to waypoint 1, 2, and then to the objective release point. Now, this path is going to vary. We will get onto the footpath at waypoint 2 and proceed down that at a walking pace. Now, once we come to around here, we're going to halt and decide. We'll do a leader recon and we'll decide how we want to hit this. Now, it's pretty important that if there are WMDs on site, that we hit those buildings first, secure those, and then fight our way through the rest of the town. But we need to make sure we secure those quickly. All right, so most likely what we will do is follow this tree line in with one team or squad, and the other will follow in from the north. Now, this might all differ once we get on the ground. I don't know, what this vegetation looks like. It's green, so it could be good, but it might not be great. It could be a bunch of trees with high branches and no concealment at the lower level. So, we'll play that by ear when we get there. But the main thing that most of the set stuff up on the first objective here for objective Greece is up to about the ORP, at which point we'll do a recon and then things will kind of go dynamic from that point on. Once we clear objective Greece, we will get exfil via helicopter from the center of the town. We're going to secure that and look for intel. If there are WMDs, those need to be marked on maps. On the C tab, the buildings need to be marked with paint. And then we need to make sure that all levels of leadership are notified of the location so that friendly forces can come and deal with those at a later date. All right. Phase line Omega that goes through objective Greece, that will be the dividing phase line for the elements that are clearing. So do not cross that phase line. Other than that, stay within everything within that phase line is squad leader discretion as to how you want to hit that. Are there any questions for objective Greece?
What color paint for the buildings with WMDs?
WMD paint will be yellow, if that's a color, right?
Red, blue, green, black.
Do red and green.
Okay.
We just need to make sure that these buildings are, if it's confirmed WMDs, these buildings we cannot lose track or just, these need to be confirmed. And the other thing that's important is that once we secure these buildings, it's imperative that we start operating out of those buildings. We need to hold those buildings down while we clear the rest of the town. So you're going to need to delegate some people to go out and clear the rest of the buildings. Any other questions on objective Greece? Okay, so once we are done with Greece, we will get picked up via transport, probably to Blackhawks, and we'll be flown to LZ Berserker and LZ Cohort. Now, this objective Gaul, has high value targets from the ranking organization. However, there are no WMD. There are confirmed to be no WMDs in the area and no civilians. So we will be hitting this with a airstrike prior to our landing. So basically, it'll be boom, boom, we're on the ground 2 seconds later. All right, so air, you're going to have to coordinate that. Russo, make sure you get with me, and we really got to make sure we got that shit set up for when we're flying in. Cohort and Berserker, if the pilots can manage 2 transports, then we'll land separately at both of those. And whichever squad lands at Berserker, we'll figure that out in a second here. We'll push in from the south in kind of a east to north movement, and then the one that lands at Cohort will just go straight in, stay along the north side.
User was moved to your channel.
Once we've cleaned that up, so basically whatever the air doesn't kill, we will. Again, everything in that town is considered to be hostile. That is why we are striking it ahead of time. Now, if there are civilians, then obviously don't shoot them, right? But as far as we are aware, this area we're cleared hot to hit this before we go in there. Now, once we are done with Gaul, I'm sorry, does anyone have any questions on Gaul?
You just want me to blow up everything in Gaul and then you move in as a mop-up crew?
Start with hard targets,
Okay.
and then if there's any major fucking, concentrations of enemy troops, go ahead and hit those. Try to start with, if you're going to hit, individual targets, start with ones that are closer to the LZ and work your way east.
Roger.
So once we're done with Gaul, we're going to push south up onto the hill 159. From there, we will drop into this defilade behind 116 as we push into Objective Rome. Now, Objective Rome, again, possible WMD site. So we're going to have to make sure that we prioritize that building as one of the initial buildings that we take when we get in there. So once we get to the ORP, again, we're going to decide how we want to go about this. What is the best way? We may send a squad all the way around this way to come through here. I mean, it really just depends on what the situation calls for and what the armament looks like in here. Again, there's WMDs in here, so this is not strikeable by air, as is Objective Greece. Things to note for ROE: do not fire unless fired upon. Objective Gaul is considered hostile. However, there's civilians in the region, so there may just be people there. You never know. No 40 mics or frag grenades inside Objective Rome or Objective Greece. We don't know if they're explosive WMDs. We don't know if it's chemical. We can't risk it. So no explosives of any type inside those towns. Okay. Are there any questions? ROE, path, fucking loadouts that you guys need?
Are flashbangs allowed in the towns that have possible WMDs?
No.
What about AT?
So AT is going to be in dire situation. Now, obviously, there's going to be potential armor because we've run into armor thus far. And these are WMD sites, so they will probably be heavily defended. We're going to try to utilize AT to disable. Don't really worry about double stacking the fucking, a BTR. Like if it's hit and it's smoking, leave it alone, right? We need that AT because we need to because the AT doesn't, I don't really expect you guys to miss with the AT because you don't. I don't necessarily trust the air, no offense, to precision hit something in an alleyway next to a WMD building. You know what I mean? So really utilize those ATs if you need to, but that'll be squad leader discretion. Like if you feel like, there's a BTR rolling up on you and that's the option, then do it. And then ask for fucking forgiveness later.
How likely are these WMDs to go off?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's, like I said, we don't know if it's chemical. We don't know if it's explosive, nuclear. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any questions on insert, exfil, reinserts, anything along those lines?
At Rome, are we also exfilling from the middle of town?
Yeah, so at Rome, we'll again, it might not be as suitable because it's not as, it's a little bit bigger, so there's not really like a central point as much, but we'll try to set up somewhere. But with fucking Greece, it's pretty much just like right in the center there. There's like one road section. The other thing is that as we are kind of starting to build the unit up again into more of a, into a bigger unit as we were before, we're going to try to kind of raise the standard again. It's kind of been lacking as we come out of our break. So try to use rank and name when in op. Try to keep the comms to a minimum unless on radio, unless it's absolutely necessary. Mainly because now a lot of people are starting to record too, and we're starting to put our footage on YouTube, and it just doesn't look that good when there's a bunch of people screaming over the net. So try to keep that to a minimum. Try to keep your be patient. Don't push fucking shit that you don't need to push just to get a couple kills, because when you go down, I'm not joking when I say this, if you go down, the entire element stops, because we will not, you guys don't wait all week to get left behind on an op, right? And so we're gonna make sure you get up before we start moving. But if you go down, the entire group stops. So really try to play your life here, because That's where we start to shit starts to hit the fan. Is when we start having people go down, and then it comes in ones and twos, and then we stall. All right. Are there any questions?
Negative. Not for me.
All right. Squad leaders, get with me real quick. We're gonna divvy up which directions you're